Hey everyone, it's Alexa with Grace and Cherish, and I'm back for part 2 of our property tour. So it's now the afternoon. You can see the sun is setting. We are on the west side of our property. We showed most of all of the property on the other side of our pond, so we can actually pan out and show you that now to give you a kind of an idea of where we are. So over here you can see the pond or a lake, and then on the other side is where we did our tour. There's the dam that we crossed. And then kind of towards the front of our property is in that direction. Here we have the west side where we have an open field area, and then we have our woods that are located behind me. So we're gonna walk over that way. Most of our property is in the front of our house, and so you can even see we have our woods here, and then we have our backyard that we're gonna go to, which is where our garden is right now. But first we'll go into the woods area that we own. And for now, we wanted to make something that kids could come and play on. We have 4 kids and we have a lot of friends with kids, and just we wanted to have a place where they could come, play, enjoy. So we have a slack line that's up. Actually, let's go back. So we have our slack line here, and then we have some large stumps that we're gonna move back here just to make it a fun wooded play area. Move around. Now the woods that are over here on this side aren't as matured as the woods that's on the other side, so you can tell that even in the height of the trees. But it's a great spot for this play area. You can see, I don't know if we'll be able to see if we can even zoom in, but to where our property line ends, just a little bit farther down into the woods.
See if we can see those pink flags back there.
Yeah, where the pink flags are.
See the pink flag right there. And that's about all you're gonna see, I think.
Yeah.
But it's back there probably another, what is it, 40 yards?
40 yards, you'd say? Okay.
Yeah. No, not that far. Yeah, whatever.
So I love this. I love being able to have this. I love that it's, mostly clear on the ground. It's great. Brandon and our son took down some trees and stuff so that we would have this area for the kids. So now if we come out here, we've talked a lot about Philo, like the plan of making it a place where we can host people, have different events and things like that. When we had our wedding here, not our wedding, but a friend's wedding here last August, we wanted to have it in this area right here, but you might be able to see that it is at a slope. So the way that we would have had to have it get graded and other things, and the timing didn't work out in order to, get the seed in for grass and have it grow in time for the wedding. It wasn't gonna work. So we decided not to, and we just had the wedding on the other side of our barn because that's the flattest area on our property. So in the future though, we do hope to use this area for events, and we're still, kind of figuring out what that might look like. But the dream is to just be able to have another place where people can come host big events. It's a large area, especially after having that wedding and seeing how many people could fit in that one spot. We have plenty of room to host multiple weddings at one time if we wanted, minus the parking. But anyway, so this area though, for the most part, we just use it to run around and play in. We'll see, and we'll kind of feeling out what it might be in the future. So now if we keep walking this way, you can see our house is right here, and the previous owners put a fence that went, kind of cuts out, borders the backyard. So we'll have to walk all the way around the house to go in through the fence to go to where our garden is.
No, that's gross.
This right here, Brandon just told me, he's like, I would not point this out. It's gross. And it is gross. I hate looking at this. But this is an area, gross. Imagine with me, we have to dig it out. But my dream here is to do a lot of flowers, do a lot of just different beautiful flowers. The previous owners they had planted some things because they had some perennials like hydrangeas that came up that were beautiful to look at, but there are so many weeds. There are so many. So it just doesn't work to our son in the window. So it just doesn't work to, we need to clear it out and start over. So that's a goal. It's just with everything we're doing in the garden, which you'll see in a second, that's kind of on the back burner, but we're gonna get to it because it's front and center. Really want to take care of that. All right, so we walked across, we got our garage, all the crepe myrtles. We have our fire pit that Brandon built. we had to prune some of our trees, so our lights that are normally up are currently down. But that fire pit is actually 7 feet wide. It's a huge fire pit, but with those stumps, it makes it look so much smaller. But those are the stumps that we're gonna actually move. We're gonna move some of those over to the kid area just for some things to jump around and play on. All right, so we got our wonderful piles of horse manure compost. And this gate leads into our garden area, our backyard, and you can see our neighbors, the fence that separates us and our neighbor. We have our propane tank, and so this area was all empty. Last year, you can see those raised beds. We got those from a community garden that was closing, and so we were able to get soil, get the beds from them. And that's when we started our first garden. The only other thing I had ever gardened before were tomatoes in a small little pot back in Portland when we lived there. And so now we decided to go from those 4 garden beds to all that you see here. We have some of the white cloth covering it, but what we have are, we have 2 more 4x8 beds here. These are about 4x20, 2 of them. And then we have a 4 4x16, and then in the back is where we're gonna plant some other things. I don't know how big that space is. It's another, I don't know. It extends the whole way here, so that's probably another 20 feet wide and about 4 or 5 feet deep or so, maybe a little bit more. But anyway, so this is our garden. We have a little bit more that we're gonna be building onto it, and then I'm gonna make a meadow in this back area here. So this is actually going to become a wildflower meadow. And then in the back along the fence, we started 2 compost piles, and then our leaf mold pile are there. Our hope is one day that we'll be able to move our propane tank to the other side of our house. So then this will just be open and it'll be a little bit more functional, but that's all right. Over here, I mentioned this, I think, in the first video, the previous owners had about 10 dog houses, so we can walk over here. This area, the nice thing about it already being fenced is that we can put chickens. Like, our goal is to eventually have a chicken coop that we put in here. If we get really adventurous, we'll do goats, we'll see. But it's nice that it's already fenced. We'll have to take down a couple things, but for the most part, it's set up well. We just have to do the hard work of clearing it out. So the dog houses we'll have to clear out. And then, this area gets a lot of weeds. There were so many weeds. This whole thing was full. Brandon went through and took a lot out. So we'll have to do some work in there to clear it out, but we definitely think this is where we'll do the chicken coop. It's definitely become a little haven for animals because there was a fox in there the other day. I saw it jumping off one of the houses when I was out here in the garden trying to fix some things. So it's become its own little wildlife haven, but we're gonna change that up and do definitely chickens and maybe goats one day. So we have this area, and then if we go around, there's just some grass that's in between this fenced area and the barn. It's really just a very uneven grassy area. I really don't know what they must have used it for. What do you think they used it for before? I have no idea. There was kind of a burn pile.
There's a burn pile
on that side,
there, but that's just.
But other than that, yeah, I'm not sure what they did with it. So. Especially since their garden was on the other side of the pond when they lived here. But anyway, that is really most of, I'm trying to think if there's anything else on this side of the property. There's not much. Yeah. That is the end of part 2 of our tour. I will share more about the garden specifically. I have some videos that I'm going to do as far as our seed starting and what seeds we're getting for the garden. And so that will go a little bit more in depth in future videos. But for today, thank you so much for joining us. May you know God's grace and cherish every moment with Him. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.